Hello there, people of the internet. I was going through some random stockpiles that I had laying around, and I came across one single round of this right here. This delightfully interesting little cartridge. So what this is a 2520, and it's actually based off of the 3220 done by Winchester. This particular 2520 is the 2520 Winchester, and I gotta say that because Marlin also made a 2520 cartridge. So this is based off the 3220 Winchester, which was a relatively popular small lever action cartridge back during the time where these styles of cartridge were quite predominant. I have some notes written down about this particular one just to make sure that I get everything right here. So it's also known as 6.6 by 33 millimeter rimmed, and boy, that is a nameful. This cartridge came out in 1895, and it was designed for the 1892 Winchester lever action rifles. It's a little tiny bullet on a bottlenecked cartridge, and I bet that this right here was a real fun round to have way back in the day. I'm betting that this right here was like the 22 long rifle back in the day. So it's a neck down 3220. So instead of being a 32 caliber, it is neck down to 25 caliber. It fires. All right, hold on. There's two different loadings for this particular round because it came out in 1895. That's a really interesting time period for cartridges of this time because this was during the point in time where rifles were transitioning from black powder to smokeless powder. So I found two different loadings for the 2520. If you were to go out and get yourself black powder loading, this right here sent a 86 grain bullet at approximately, ooh, that was a big hiccup, at approximately 1400 feet per second. So that's a black powder loading, 1400 feet per second, 86 grain bullet. That's pretty much on par with what you would come to expect. Now, if we were to load it with smokeless powder, it would send that same 86 grain bullet at 1600 feet per second. Though I have seen forums and whatnot talking about how this right here was regularly pushed up to 1700 feet per second with these smokeless powder loads. So that's a fairly decent velocity for a fairly lightweight bullet, considering just how tiny of a round this is. It's a little tiny bottlenecked cartridge that I'm sure was used in revolvers, but I'm sure it most predominantly got used in lever actions. It's got a rim on it, and for the time period where this came out, I'm sure a lot of it was used as black powder, and then a bunch of it ended up getting used as smokeless. I'm not sure. Hold on. Oh, okay, I can hear the smokeless powder in this particular one. I'm not sure when Winchester stopped production on these, but I'm sure that they restarted it, because this one says WRA, and it's in pretty gosh darn good shape, and it's smokeless, so I'm willing to bet that this right here is probably a modern-made Winchester cartridge. I could be wrong on that, though. So, I'm not sure if these are still produced. I don't actually own a 2520, so I don't know why I'd even look into the production of this. But this was a neat little round that I found, and I like the Winchester cartridges from this particular time period just because they're all so unusual, and they all have like really interesting different names and designations and whatnot. Some of their cartridges from back then are given different names, even though they're the same cartridge, that just has like different bullet weights because the length of the bullet determined whether it would or would not run in a lever action rifle. Like there's a bunch of Winchester 1876s chambered in all sorts of different cartridges, which are literally just 4570s with different bullet sizes, because that would make them different lengths, and it's just a fascinating piece of history. So there we go. Hopefully you learned something about the 2520, this little tiny thing that sends an 85 grain bullet at 1600 feet per second, potentially 1700 feet per second. So it is more powerful than 22 long rifle by quite a deal. Nearly twice, actually over twice the bullet weight, and significant more velocity as well. I I might have to get one of these. That would be really cool. What I'd like to get is a 3220 versus the 2520, just because 3220 is a little bit easier to find than this really obscure one. So thanks for watching, folks. I appreciate your time. Like, subscribe, share. Description below has a link to all sorts of stuff. Go check it out. You guys go off, have yourself a fantastic day, and I will see you on the next episode.
Been a little while since I've done this. Bonnie and Clyde be damned. The poor man's Garen. It's a shame that bolt-action shotguns aren't more mainstream.